He's ready to go on the Fan, New York Sports Radio. Mike's on, Mike's on. He'll get you the sports any way that he can. It's Mike Francesa on the Fan. Sports Radio 66 and 101.9 FM, WFAN.
From the studios of WFAN, this is Mike's on Francesa on the Fan on this Tuesday, the 5th day of June. Yankee baseball tonight, obviously. Mets back in action tonight. Yanks split a double dip yesterday, so that's what happens with most doubleheaders. We are, close to a Stanley Cup champion. We bring the series back to Cleveland tomorrow night for the NBA, so we have all that stuff. You have sports betting now in the state of Delaware as of this afternoon. If that interests you, you can run on down to Dover Downs and place a bet on the Phillies or on the Mets or the Yankees or whatever. We begin. First, let me, on a serious note, send our best to Dave Gettleman. As you heard that the Giant general manager now is fighting a form of lymphoma, so he will, I guess, do what he can do in his job, and obviously first take care of his health. So we do send our best to the Giant general manager. That was picked up, I gather, in a routine physical. So again, we just hope for the best, and send along our prayers and thoughts, and hopefully he's doing well. The Mets get Frazier back. They don't yet get Cespedes back. We still don't know exactly when he will be back, but Frazier's a step in the right direction. A couple of days with the awful Orioles for the Mets before they get the Yankees. The Yankees yesterday, there was two big themes out of the double dip. And that's not really even, making Torres playing short in the second game of theme, because I'm not even going to go there. One was Stanton and what went on in game two. The other was the fact that Judge struck out 8 times in 2 games. Why that? First of all, he didn't strike out 8 times in one game. He struck out 8 times on a day, okay? So, hey, he can strike out 4 times in a game. Yankees got a bunch of guys that can strike out 4 times in a game, especially Judge and Stanton. Judge has struck out 83 times now in a little over 200 bats. He's going to strike out a lot. There's going to be 8s for 9s. There's going to be 9 for 10s. There's going to be days like that. It just, I understand it's 8 times on one day, but, it's a rough day. But I guarantee you he put his head on the pillow and he'll be right there tonight and he'll be fine. So, that's just the way it is with him. It's not going to bother him. Strikeouts are not going to bother him. They're not going to bother Stanton. That's who they are. They strike out a lot. A lot of guys strike out a lot now in baseball. A ton of them. And again, those two are as, close to the pack as you can get at the top. You look at how many times guys strike out, and the numbers they're overwhelming now in baseball. But that's the way the sport is played. So it shouldn't surprise you. When you see any one of these guys do it on a daily basis, because, hey, it's kind of who they are. Guys strike out. They strike out a lot. Gallo has struck out 85 times. Judge has struck out, and he hits the ball hard every other time up. If you look at his extra base hits, he does that. He hits a lot of home runs. He hits a lot of doubles. He strikes out a lot. He struck out 85 times this year. Judge has struck out 83 times. Stanton has struck out 76 times. Those are the top 3 right now in all of baseball. But you got a bunch of guys in the 70s. Like Davis and Goldschmidt and Upton and, Story and Taylor, and go down the line. There's a lot of guys. There are 25 guys who have struck out over 60 times already this year. It's a lot of strikeouts. We haven't neared the halfway point. So, and you know how many guys there are that have struck out over 50 times this year? I believe over 70 players or 75 players have struck out over 50 times already this year. So it's not a big deal. It really isn't. And they're at the top of the list. They always will be. And that's just the way it is. You got 2 of them on one team, Stanton and Judge. And Judge yesterday went for a very big days of swing and misses. Now, since the Supreme Court decision, the first one up was Delaware today. If you're interested in such things, they ushered in it today as the governor, John Carney, placed his first bet on the Phillies over the Cubs to make it historic today. It was something that was a long time coming. Now, right now, you can only bet at Delaware Park, Dover Downs, and Harrington Raceway. Nowhere else. And Jersey will be up soon. Pennsylvania's not far behind. Don't know when New York is going to be in the mix. Some states might not be up until 2022. So it depends on the state. And again, is this going to be something that is going to change sports right away? No. First of all, in Delaware, the most you can bet on a game is $1,000. $1,000, that's it. People have been betting in Las Vegas forever. They have been betting in every which way that is possible legally in Las Vegas forever. So I don't know why this would be something that would change everything now. When it gets to be a daily occurrence where it is a regular part of the game and is a regular part of America's millions of fans' daily life and ritual, then maybe it will change the sport. We are a long way from that. We are many, many years from that. This will happen very slowly. It'll take some time. It will grow, but it will happen very slowly. It is not going to impact the sports or you or me very quickly. Most people who bet the way they've bet for years, if they do bet, will bet the same way. That's just the way it is for the most part. You will not see a tremendous amount of change. The other story now is the White House and the NFL. And, you know, the NFL has handled this so poorly. I've said that a million times. I told you this year the plan they came up with was one that would not work, would not in any way end this issue. And you can see already that it has clearly not done that, because now you saw where Trump, who obviously has his conflict and canceled his thing with the Phillies today, and you have both NBA teams saying already they won't go. Well, no one thought they would. So, but you have him saying, hey, I'm not okay with somebody staying in the locker room. And the visual of half a team in a locker room isn't going to work either for the NFL. So the NFL could have stood up to Trump and won, could have stood up to the players and won. Instead, they did neither, and they lost, and they continue to lose. And they will continue to lose because they just have no backbone in this when it comes to this issue. None. And if they had enforced it from the beginning, they would have been in good shape. They're not. They're in terrible shape. They're running from everybody, and they don't know which way. They don't know which way to go now. And it's just not working for them. And here's another story of it today, where this whole thing with the Eagles and everything is just, it's a mess. It's an absolute mess, and it's not going to get any better. And the other leagues are not facing it, and they're facing it every which way. So that's where we are as we get ready for a busy week. You have the Belmont this week. Did they draw you got the draw?
5:30.
Oh, 5:30 is the draw? Okay. Do we know how many horses we're expecting?
10 horses.
10 horses. All right. Is he putting another horse in the race or not? Is Baffert putting another horse in the race? Are we expecting that, or we don't know?
Expect it, but I'll double check.
All right. So we might. I don't understand the idea of a rabbit with a horse that is going to be on the front end anyway, or clearly in the first flank of horses. It doesn't make sense to me. Usually you put a rabbit in for a horse that needs a quick pace and it's going to come from way back. That's not the case with Justify, so I don't understand how the rabbit helps in any way. So I find that to be kind of a weird situation. But we'll get it better defined when we get it today, and we'll see if Baffert does put another horse in the race. There is talk that he would, but put one in there to, get him the necessary pace. He could create the necessary pace himself. I don't know why he needs any more pace. He'd like a leisurely pace with his horse on the front end, controlling the fractions. Let him go out there and set a nice slow first half and then just run away for a mile, which he would do very easily. So that would be the perfect race for him. That would be the race that would scare everybody off. Let him back down the fractions for the first half and then just take off and click off some nice fractions the rest of the way and run home. That would be the optimum race for Justify. He's very capable of doing that. That's the kind of way he's built, to be that kind of horse. So I don't understand the
He did enter his other horse.
He did?
Restoring Hope, yeah.
I do not understand the presence of his other horse, even in the little, but we'll try to ask him it just doesn't make any sense to me. You can't think your horse would get beat by this horse. First of all, you wouldn't put a horse in that you thought could beat him. And why he feels he needs to ensure a pace just doesn't make any sense to me here. Absolutely none. He doesn't need a horse to run at. Does he think that Justify needs a horse to run at for some reason? I mean, it just does not make a lot of sense. He thinks he runs better if he runs from just off it rather than right on the pace. So he wants somebody to ensure the pace that he can run off. I mean, it's a very odd situation. We'll have to get that further clarified. You wouldn't put a horse in that could beat your horse on the Triple Crown. That makes no sense. Even in this era where top trainers have multiple horses in the race, putting someone in to beat your horse that is in quest of a triple just does not make any sense. That part of it makes no sense, and you would not expect an owner or anybody else to try and do that. Even in this era where sometimes top trainers like a Pletcher or Baffert have put, have put multiple horses in the race. It says here, with Justify already back to the barn and a large gaggle of onlookers following trainer Bob Baffert's other contender to the track, a Son of Giant Causeway, Restoring Hope. He went really well, Baffert said. I wanted him to do a little more with him. He started undercard at the Derby. He's well bred, blah, blah, blah. Baffert described Restoring Hope as a steady, one-pace kind of horse. Last week, he likened Restoring Hope to a rabbit, not in the traditional sense of a pace setter, making him but rather he could provide a target for which Justify could set modest fractions. I mean, the only way this makes sense is if you let Restoring Hope go out and then you want Justify just to have someone to pace off rather than cut him himself. But I don't see why that would be in any way something that would be advantageous for his horse. This is a very odd, very peculiar thing, and you would not ever send a horse out that you thought could beat your horse, because why would you try to get your own horse beat for a Triple Crown? I mean, it's a bizarre situation, very unusual. And again, if he was a strike the goal type who needed to run off or a forego, or someone who was going to come from way back and needed somebody to run with the horses early to ensure a quick pace, then you understand the presence of a rabbit. That is not the case with Justify, who would be better served just going out there, clicking off a leisurely half, and then just knock off the fractions on his way to a Triple Crown. That would be, to me, to be the optimum way for him to race. This is a peculiar situation, and one will hope to get Baffert on to define when we're out there on Friday. So we got that coming up. We got the Yankees and the Mets this weekend. Looks like the Mets may have their pitching in order, where they'll go with DeGrom, Matson, and Syndergaard for the weekend, which at least gives the competitive appearances with those two. And even Matz has been throwing much better. So it looks like the Mets can at least put a solid pitcher, if not a spectacular one, on the mound for the games against the Bombers, which will be Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday. A lot to do. Get it all rolling right after this.